We continue our working day, and I give the floor to the Pavlovska Svitlana. The topic is implementation of the NATO standards in personnel training at the Center of National Guard of Ukraine. First, I would like to say that starting from 22nd of February, National Guard of Ukraine and its divisions, they keep peace and order in the capital of Ukraine in an enforced manner. And now the servicemen of Kiev division and those who are in the North Territorial unit, they serve in reserve in defending the most important objects of infrastructure. And this is envisaged by the orders of the Cabinet of Ministers, and there the institutions are included. And we are speaking about presidential administration, the building of the Cabinet of Ministers, and other institutions that are in this list. And the organization of the service of the National Guard is affected in this way that they are serving and they have the opportunity to have a rest, and they are provided with a proper food, and they serve and they defend the most important entities, and they do not defend any hotels or other civil institutions, and any information that they took part in active actions near hotels, this information is false. And I will continue. Also, the servicemen of the National Guard of Ukraine, they are involved in the keeping of order, and these days were very memorable for the citizens of our country, and everyone has the opportunity to express their own views and to commemorate those who fought for the independence. And we want to say that on Saturday, in the first part of the day, there were some acts of violating the order, and these actions were the attempts to destroy the property of some institutions. This is the property of Alpha Bank, Sberbank of Russia, and other and offices of some political oligarchs. And these actions, these people who did this, they came from one place to another, and now the investigation is on the way. And these people, if they are guilty, they will be punished. And the situation stabilized, and all the residents and visitors of our town, they were able to travel freely in Krishchednik Street and in other streets of the city. And in the evening, the National Guard served with the National Police in order to keep the order. And there were no violations directed at our servicemen. Starting from the second part of the day, were not observed. And yesterday the situation was rather peaceful. There were some minor violations, but people had the opportunity to be in the center of the city and to do they wanted to do. And the leadership of the National Guard of Ukraine controlled the situation, and the Ministry of the Internal Affairs, in which National Guard is included, there's a special headquarters for the control of the situation. And those events that happened and the events that are planned, now the situation is controlled, and these forces are under control. And what is the main idea of the service of this unit. Every position where our servicemen serve, it is controlled by small groups of people, where different people of different and there are some pressure on our servicemen. We are speaking about destructive stress, and there are some talks and they try to call on to some improper actions, and it can happen during the some period of time. But our servicemen are ready for this, and their commanders also always with their units. And one of the elements of the training of our servicemen is the information training, and there are a complex of measures to provide the activity of the National Guard. And today it's rather difficult to change the values of some servicemen of National Guardsmen, and it's difficult to make him do something wrong. And in social media, and as they call them in new media, there's a lot of information that call on young people to violate the law, to violate the order. And it also influences on the discipline of servicemen and peaceful citizens. And the leadership of the National Guard take into account these conditions, and humanitarian component is very important in the training of National Guard. The situation stabilizes, and we continue to serve in an enforced regime.
And we will see for how long period we will announce this situation. The decision will be made in the general staff and then the general command of the National Guard, and by the general command of the National Guard of Ukraine. Despite of the not very large number of the National Guard servicemen involved into carrying out their duties today, there is sufficient number of those to counteract any public disorder. And also I would like to mention one more thing, that today the increased number of, despite of the bigger number of servicemen which are on duty today in the central part of the city, we have sufficient number of servicemen to carry out duties in other regions, both in the capital of the country and moreover in the area of the anti-terrorist operation. Thank you, Svitlana. Let us announce Q&A session. Could you please explain why those stronger teams and units and stronger operations were started? Because of the events which we had during the weekend? No, is it peculiar for the entire Ukraine? No, we speak particularly about Kiev, the capital of the country, and particular about the governmental quarter, governmental district. Thank you, Svitlana. See you next time.